Hey everyone, a Nerd Day Mark here. It's time to go over episode 31 of Kamen Rider Gavv. A very slapstick, humor-filled episode, which, honestly, I'm okay with that. I think, there's little minor things pushing story forward, but this was just kind of like let's have some fun. And it wasn't bad, you know? I think having an episode where it primarily focused on Rakia and Hanto and their dynamic because there's still some animosity there. So it's kind of like, oh, let's let's get a humor filled episode of them just interacting with each other because Hanto, we didn't forget about this. Hanto is looking into Shoma's mother's side of the family, and he's going around finding people based off the names, and he found a residence of the name, and it ended up being for a guy who went missing 2 weeks ago, and the last scene was a barber shop. So obviously our Granute is a barber. My thing is, where are these Granutes learning these trade skills in the human world? Like, because we know the Granutes have been there for what they've been saying, what, close to maybe 20 years or so, a few. Granted, so I assume a few of them has been like become residents and learnt trades. Like, you don't just wake up and be a barber. You got to go to school for that. You got to get and at least in America, you got to get licensed and board certified. Everything else. Like, there's a lot of, but like, all right, I'm going on a tangent. Like, let's not question how he legally became a barber, got a business license, so on and so forth. That's besides the point. It's a TV show. It's fictional. Um, but he does. Our Granute is a praying mantis, I believe, like some sort of mantis thing. And the humor of this comes from Hanto and Rakia end up getting stuck and bound together via their arms. So, like, their hands get. So I was like, all right, this is gonna lead to some humorous moments, and it really did. There's one where Sachika's like trying to free them, and she's sitting there with a hammer and a chisel, then a chainsaw, and then she's about to set off some dynamite, but they get stopped. No one questions where she got dynamite from. We don't question Sachika and where she gets anything. We keep that. She is a jack of all trades, just like her business. Okay. Um, so the majority of that was just them stuck together, trying to find the Granute, but also just dealing with how much they don't like each other. And I like that. At one point, you know, Lagi is even like, I don't like him because he's not human. He's just stupid. He's just a stupid person. And I'm like, okay. And he lists all the stupid things he did, which was kind of a nice callback to everything like Hanto's reactions to. He's like, yeah, when you found out Shoma was a Granite, you punched him in the face. Also, the fact that you were literally working with Shugen, you didn't realize he had a bunch of clones in his basement. Oh yeah, and also you literally thought the clones were actually Shoma, even though his Gavv unit was completely different. And I'm like, valid points, very valid points. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, yeah, facts. Um, Another thing that's been going on the whole entire time too is the continuation of the Stomach Jiip vice president of Stomahc Inc. with the president's daughter marriage and her Lizelle just enjoying the human world. We find out. So Jiip is pretty mad because well, not mad, just oh, feeling a certain way. Lango's signing the contract, so now the president now owns the company, and basically he says, hey, he has police in his pocket. It's the best way to keep us, going. And Jiip, shows up, is like, you're sitting in my seat. Well, supplies running low. Go get me some humans. And he's like, well, we have a certain way we do this, certain quality. He's like, I didn't ask for your opinion. He's like, get me some people. And he's like, I will go get that for you. And he leaves. Glota flat out was like, what's your deal? This and that. The line of this whole entire situation, and I don't usually do play-by-plays for what happens in the episodes. For those of you who are new to the reviews, I don't like, this isn't a play-by-play. I'm just giving my thoughts on it, and reviewing the episode. If you want a full detailed breakdown of the episode, you already saw the episode. possibly. So Jiip literally says, "You don't worry. You have like basically you haven't done anything to me." So Rota's basically safe in all this because it's not. It was basically Longo that was, did wrong by Sheeta and Jiip, and even Glota kind of had a reaction where I was like, okay, there's something stirring in there, like something's bubbling up. And on the other side of the coin, Jeeb's wife, Lizelle, is just exploring the human world, goes into an antique shop and starts, a little montage of looking at everything and saying, I want this, I want that, while the shop owner's following around. And then she's like, all right. And then she goes to leave. He's like, wait, you got to pay. You got your bill. And then we get introduced to what's going to be my favorite character, villain, the butler for Lizelle, and who she's like, hey, butler, like, tell this man who I am. Tell like he don't know my status. Like, handle my light work. And I was just like, man, like, I don't know the design, because it's not like we find out later on the episode that that's basically a minion or an agent from her dad. So now I'm curious, like, how agents work, because all the Granutes that are like pressing humans this that don't have agents, but Stomach Inc. and now the president of the Granutes have agents, but she doesn't, possibly. Like, so I'm curious how the biology of Granutes plays into effect of who gets agents, like, do the common folk Granutes not get them, but like higher up in societal ones do? Is there like a secret? Is this something that, the president learned from Longo? Like, I'm curious how this whole agent thing works. So hopefully we get some information on that. This whole third time Shoma, though, he's been kind of just chilling, He exploring around. He returned to the candy shop that he was, the sweet little snack stand that he was at last week. Like, I didn't bring it up in last week's episode because I don't look at other people's theories or anything until after my review, but I do know from social media and Snap, people are like, hey, this person might be important. But I always play it into, I don't do fan theories unless it's presented in the show. Then I don't, I don't spend time diving into things, If that's the case, if I want to do full theories and it's not, these videos would be 30, 40 minutes long. If you go back to my older reviews, I used to do that, like with Geets and stuff like that. Yeah, I would theorize, and those videos were long. And yeah, I don't want to make long videos each episode. So the reason why I think this is important now is because, one, he gave him caramel and he got a new Gochizo. But two, there's something where he's like, oh, you're back again. He's like, did you catch that thief, this and that? But there's like, until they give a name to this character where he asks his name, this could be a misdirection. But like, people like, were saying, oh, he could be a relative, this and that. I think that'd be cool. It would make sense because but it's kind of on the nose. Like, hey, this guy could be like an uncle or something like that. And it's just like one of those things where it's like a candy shop owner, a snack shop owner. It's a little right in front of you, you know what I mean? So that could, but the fact that, he got a new Gochizo, the caramel one, I'm wondering if we're actually going to get that form, because we still have gotten other Gochizos that haven't gotten forms, so you never know if that's going to pan out to something. But I did find it curious that, okay, he did go back to the shop, so this is, once it's like, oh, that's cool, see, now 2 episodes in a row, I'm like, this is like his, I mean, I saw the prices too, like, it makes sense in the economy and everything else, those candies and snacks, those weren't expensive, but that's where Shoma's up to. And then eventually he hears some screaming and he bumps into the butler, basically working over this human that runs the antique shop. And I was like, okay, we're gonna get a fight between these two. And their fighting was good fighting. It was a narrow alleyway. Once again, I dig the alleyway fights, I really do. And it led to him even saying, wow, he's strong. And then Lizelle shows up and she says that's enough. Butler walks away, and that's when she reveals, oh yeah, this is my dad's agent. because he's like, what are you? Like, who are you? Like, this is crazy. Like, the butler was beating that ass, okay? But they were kind of evenly matched to an extent. Um, and then she wants to play, but nothing comes of that. That's kind of where those two, where that the Shoma stuff ends, and we still focus heavily on, like I said, Hanto, Rakia, because now they're stuck together. The humor and slapstick of them, like, one point Hanto falls over, lands on a cactus, then they both are running, like moving, and Rakia bumps into like a chain link fence and falls over, and Hanto's talking about how many like cactus needles he has in each butt cheek. There's a lot, like, all the slapstick stuff. It was humorous. I really enjoyed it. And then there was like, this wasn't all humor though. So they do end up fighting and finding the Granute, which leads to one of the coolest henchins, I think, because they're connected to each other. Rakia starts henching. Hanto tries to, but he drops the Choco Gochizo, and he's like drowning in the cup that goes over Rakia when he henchins. And he's trying to talk to his Gochizo, and the Gochizo's like, I don't know what you're saying. Like, what are you saying? And then eventually he's like, pantomiming it, and he's like, oh, okay, why don't you just say so? And he henchins, so they henching at the same time. So Hanto's henching inside the cup that's filling up with the pudding and everything. So I was like, oh, that's so cool looking. I was like, it was really good. Obviously, the fighting in tandem, they would accidentally do some combos, but eventually they got, separated. They do defeat the Granute, but they realize it's just a husk and it escaped. But the main thing, and like I said, I don't do playbys, but the main reason why I'm bringing up the fighting in action is because the rain slash attacks from this Granute left a marking on a tree, and Rakia started flashbacks to his little brother, and the slashes on the tree matched what happened to the back of his brother that led to his death. So we have found potentially the Granute that killed Camel. And I'm like, ooh, that's a big reveal, because it hasn't been pushed to the sideline. It's been there that this is still a thing. Like, everyone has their journey right now. Hanto's just trying to find Shoma's relatives. Rakia's been trying to find who killed his brother. Shoma's just Shoma. Like, he's still just trying to rescue people, eat some good snacks, So that's something I'm really looking forward to, is what's going to happen next episode when Rakia finds this Granute. Because that confrontation, like, we saw what he did to the Kabuto Granute, like, when he just mentioned his brother. And he wasn't even the killer. We saw him. So now I'm just like, oh shit, it's going down. All right. It's going to be good. But yeah, that's really it for the episode. It was really good. I liked the fun, like, humor of this episode. It was, like I said, the pacing since the end of the last arc for the last episode and this one. Now, I kind of like it. We're kind of returning to, like, the original formula of the show, but not a reset in the show itself, Like, it doesn't feel out of place how the show's been going right now. I'm really enjoying it. Hope you guys are really enjoying it. And if you are, or if you're not, let me know in the comments below what you think. Don't forget to subscribe on the channel and like the video. I've got some, the only other video I got going up this week is going to be the Soto candy toy video for the third wave from Gavv, because I got a bunch of duplicates and I was able to finish everything. I just got to work on the thumbnail for that, and then that's going up. Other than that, that's really it. So I thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.